and welcome to Alignment Alchemy, episode 8. Today, I am so excited to bring to you Radiance Tyler, who is a mother, a producer, a musician, and a leading edge leader, all about emotional health and expanding music in the music industry. Hello, Radiance. How are you?
I'm awesome.
Thank you so much for coming on Alignment Alchemy. I'm so excited that you are here. And I'm so excited to show people your music. And we're going to do something really expansive and different today. Can you tell us a little bit about it, please?
Sure. Yes, of course. We're here at Silverbirch Studios. And first off, I want to just say thank you so much for having me on your show. I'm excited to be here. Thanks to Spirituality Gone Wild and that whole crew. So here at Silverbirch Studios, my husband, Steven Tyler, and I have the highest end studio in the Midwest, which is private and it's purpose built. And it's here in order to create a space and a campus for musicians to be able to come out and get resourced and replenished. We used to, when we were out on tour, we would write a lot of music together. And then we've kind of shifted and we've really gotten into this place of creating a great place for other musicians to come in to be able to create as well. And when we were out on tour and when I was out and in the music industry, I was recognized how depleted our resources were as a community of musicians, and then how that depletion kind of poured out onto our fan bases. And now we're really pivoting and helping the music industry to shift to immersively give us all a different path in order to help us within our lifestyles to start making better choices for ourselves and for community. So that's really reflected in the music pieces as well. So Steven, my husband, writes these sweeping, huge, epic pieces that go into, well, should be in movies. That's the way that they feel. And because I come from a background when I'm writing, my background is from the Celtic genre. If you know anything about the Celtic genre, a lot of it is about death, right? Like it was always about how the English were suppressing us, and mostly the Irish side of this or the Scottish side. And so I've really started shifting, and we were lucky enough to work with a engaging crew of people in world music. World music meaning that we're taking the essence and integrating the essence from different cultures.
Yeah.
And one of the pieces that I was recognizing in music is how we have the ability to be able to go in when people are in their place of desolation, and we meet them there, and it's the soundtrack of life. It can help you during those darkest moments when you don't have a friend that's talking to you, and help to carry you through.
Definitely another kind of ministry, isn't it? Music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. That nourishment.
Yeah. Finding the vibrations as well of these things, like through the music, I guess from the metaphysical point of view, and being able to identify with them and like release them, move past them, and raise vibrations as well up into higher realms. That's why I love music as well. So fabulous.
Exactly.
So what are you going to be doing for us today?
Well, actually, I just want to say one piece of that, and that was the studio is actually built on the golden ratio.
Oh, is it?
And it is.
Yeah.
And so everywhere you look in this building, it's based off how to get to the monad, how to get to perfect sound. And I don't know if we can show you if we look up. I have a camera person here, Steven, my husband, but we'll show you. This is awesome. So the guy, here we go. So those are all based off of 3.14 on and on.
Does that mean anything as well? Those all those indentations on them, is that significant?
It does. It was ordered. It was they attuned. Let me just move over a little bit here. There we go. They attuned the wood in order to create sound that was based on absorption, refraction, and reflection. Am I getting those right? Diffusion, in order to get to a place of creating sound as close to, like sine, cosine, the wave signatures.
Right. A pure sound, a pure sound that you could do.
Right. So moving towards that as much as possible to create a warm space where that can be created as close to that as possible. So that's
fabulous
music, from the darkness into the light. And so this first piece, I'm going to sit here quietly because we don't want to be in a feedback loop. But
yes.
I'm just inviting people in. And this is one of the pieces that we've just started working on these past 5 years.
Say work in progress.
Work in progress.
Yes.
And then we'll bring the band in order to create the rest of this piece. But we wanted to you to be the first one to hear this, because only a few people have ever heard this. So this
so
is
exciting. Thank you so
Thank
much. So exciting.
So this is called The Journey of Enlightenment. And we'll go through it in sections. So,
yes.
So here goes. I will be quiet, and I'll just sit here quietly while we listen, and then I'll stop, and then we can reflect.
Fabulous.
Okay. So that's round one. That's like the first chapter, and it was based off of Sanskrit. I had been receiving messages from a friend of mine over in India, and he was saying, I just need you to focus in on these words. And he was talking about how, this language that's starting to listen with your heart more instead of your head, and starting to soften. So I was recognizing one of the pieces of myself, and I'd love to know, like, how you walk through this. Is how do we de-armor? How do we start to remove the armor that keeps us so protected and soul protected, but also like keeps people pushed away? And then how do you bring that vibrationally into music?
Well, I think it's a case of it's always your own journey. I mean, as the musician, as the composer, for starters. So I think it really is such a path of discovery through all the layers. And the notes themselves are the interpretations of that, what is going on emotionally. And I think it is our job, I suppose, as composers to continually search for the divine in the music as well. Because I think the divine is on a frequency. And I think it's being aware of these two worlds. So for me personally, the more and more I used to write a lot of sad songs. Just put it that way. I used to write a lot of sad songs, and they are amazing songs. And I would be proud to play them as well to the general public. But I also will be someone who will be professing that I've moved through the ranks musically to get to other places where I wish to be. But I think it's all so valid because everybody is at a different point in themselves, and you can unlock a door through the music. So that's just my take on it.
I love that. It reminds me of like kind of the expansiveness of music, like crawling in. Often I recognize that it's our pain points that kind of unify the world. And that's what can help to break us out of that pain cycle. And so it's beautiful that you were recognizing that, and that it's a journey for you. And that's why Stephen's piece here was the idea of journey of enlightenment, of it's visiting all of the parts of ourselves, all the parts that want to remain hidden, the parts that don't want to show up, and loving those as much as the fully awakened, fully vibrant,
Yeah.
fully right. There's drama and there's vibrancy, and as you're turning down the drama, you're turning up the vibrancy, and they're all valid because
Yeah.
it's welcoming us back to the wholeness of ourselves.
Well, we have to be, because I mean that is how source looks as all, with unconditional love. And I know in myself, if that unconditional love was not being projected to me when I was in the throes of my addictions, thank God that the love stood there and was like an open for me to go through when the door opened for me. Thank God that there was compassion. Thank God there's compassion in the world.
Right.
So I'm always of the same tree as that as well, that, I carry that with me for the rest of my life, that when I was at my most unlovable, love was still there. And the people that were on the same wavelength were there for me as well. Thank God. Because if anybody was too far ahead, I wouldn't been able to relate to them.
Right.
So,
right. And that's another reason why I really appreciate music, is the relatability. And I was trying to, in this part of the journey. So again, Stephen created this wonderful watercolor for me to be able to create some melodies over the top of. We're not going to play the whole thing because it's forever, but we will take you through another few sections with the audience, and any questions
definitely.
that
Yeah.
that people have, you're welcome to drop in. But I really love the idea that this is its own entity, that music becomes its own person, its own persona, and touches people according to the people that align with it at that time. So
So
so with that, we'll
powerful.
take you into this next section.
Fabulous. I look forward to it.
Okay.
Woo!
shadows conceal your reality. Alter your perception, making it
I can't hear you. Ah,
Okay, there we go. Better?
yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that first part, it's in French. Well, the first part is in English, and then it goes to French. And it talks about, I've been studying neuroscience for a while because I have a program called Lighthouse Affects, and one of the ways that we're helping to pioneer and pivot in the music industry is to bring in emotional health. And one core component of that is recognizing that when we're in our pain brain and our protected brain, we can't hear, we're non-perceptive of others to keep ourselves protected. And so that's what it begins to talk about. And because so many times language has been used in order to create neglect or abuse cycles, we're kind of taking it. We mention a few words, and I say a few things in French because it's a beautiful language. And from that, it's dropping so that we can get more beyond the beta phase of our brains and kind of get into a hypnotic feeling so that we can start replenishing ourselves with getting beyond the basics of this language and back into music. So it's meant to draw you in, to listen, to be on the journey with you, and then you tell your own story in that journey. Is it
Nice.
landing? Am I?
Yeah, no, I'm getting it. Yeah, I don't.
Sometimes I talk and I'm like, I hope that just landed. So
No, yeah,
yeah,
I get it.
yeah. So so I think we'll wrap up with one more piece. As I said, it's a pretty extensive piece, and this is just the basic framework of
Yeah,
what we're working with. I'm so grateful to be here with you, and it's fun to be like listening to the song, knowing how long it's been on the books and cooking. And so yeah,
I really see. Can I just wouldn't mind just
Please.
chipping in just ever so slightly. That I do see this as a production as well. I do see this as a stage production, and I've got lots of visions myself to do with the stage and portraying these messages of the mind, spirit, body, emotion through music and through visual aids as well. So I'm really I'm seeing stuff as well, sort of firing off in me with this. Because I don't know if you know, I'm a drum kit drummer. I do that for a living as well. So
I didn't know that.
No,
and I
yeah,
love that about you now.
oh, lovely. So I'm sort of seeing it as well, like being like a rock production, an epic production, and also this other message that is through it. It's very interesting to listen to another person who's obviously you have your own message, your own music, and your own style and your own everything, but another person like myself who is portraying this, what is going on, through music and visual. So thank you so much. And the wonderful thing about this in some ways as well, not showing the whole piece is really nice, sort of a way to start building it even more. And I don't know when it's ready, whatever, showing people where it is and being able to say, hey, if you want a little taster, this is what it is, and then taking it to the next level.
Yeah, thank you.
You know what I
And
mean?
thank you for visualizing that and holding that space. We're really about big stage shows. That was like
Yeah.
what we were really, it was a whole decked out thing when we were doing stage shows, and it would take a long time just to get one show together. It wasn't like a Friday
Absolutely.
night.
No.
It was you're coming to see a big concert and a big production.
Big production.
Right.
Yeah.
And
no, I see it. I see it as well. Yeah.
So one of the pieces that I really want to recognize, apart from Stephen and his creation here and how much he put together, just visualizing components of this, another key person that we work with often, because he creates dreamy landscapes with his style of violin. And that's Derek Reeves. And to watch him play, the whole band are really gorgeous, the way that they piece things together. Marco Franco is a phenomenal bass player. William Brown is usually with us on percussion. And then Brian Nellums does like a lot of Afro-Cuban beats. So those guys aren't playing on this, but Derek and I think Marco are playing on portions of this. And I love the components of collaborative, like where people are able to hear one piece like you were just talking about, and then bring in their heart and their soul to broaden the spectrum and the reach for the people.
Yeah, it's such a great way to move people. I really feel spirit is in the music. I think there is just so much unexplored territory in harmonics, vibration, spiritual openings, etc. I mean, we touched on it. A lot of people know, but really the portals that could be opened through the right music and the right words as well is just infinite what is possible through this art form. So very excited as well. Very excited for you and all of us who are into this field of music and spirituality. It's just gonna just blow people's brains out so well, like in such a great way. And it opens up a whole thing as well that you could run courses, you can teach, you have all offshoots of this, you know, because it's not just the music. There is teachings behind it. There's philosophies, there's masters to study. There's a whole mountain of knowledge to be explored behind this music as well, which is really something new for upcoming times.
Right. And I really appreciate that it's been recycled, right? So this is the storyline that's been pouring through the hearts of humanity, I believe, since probably the beginning of humanity, wherever that seedling was. And it reminds me of our call back to our home. You know, like it's felt through here, it's felt through this brain, through the body brain. And really coming out of like this space, and this is just one of the containers that holds that energy. So
definitely bridging the gap between science and spirituality. This is where things are heading now. It's like the science world is opening up more and more to the spiritual side. I feel in these times it's much more open than it was when I'm 52, so you know, when I was younger it was a real divide. It was like Christianity and science, that was bam, bam, you know, I mean, but I think in the last 10 years, especially, there's been a real shift in this, and it's just going to get better and better. And the scientific instruments are going to be able to actually see things as well. I mean, there's some things obviously in consciousness that are, you know, but I think that we're going to go very far in this realm. I think science is going to start inventing instruments to see people's fields, and they already have, but it's going to be mainstream. It is. I can feel it coming, but we're just on the leading edge of it all. It's so fun because we have to use our faith as well. We've had to work on faith, our generation, not the concrete proof that the future generations are going to have.
Making the invisible visible. And I really appreciate your language. There's a gentleness, I think, to that bridge, you know. There's recognizing that all of our storylines are important to hear, that it wasn't the separation of us. It's bringing us all together to start seeing the value and cherishing each other for the knowledge and
the diversity. Out of the diversity was born these questions. You know, we needed the naysayers. Everyone needed this in order to be that bouncing off place to more. So you want to bless it with all of your heart, all of the contrasts that as befallen the earth and the planet, because it really has expanded us beyond, you know, what we even thought was possible. And so that's just such a wonderful thing. And I feel it's all a blessing, It
is. One piece that I think that I have some controversy in my brain around is this idea that we have new thought instead of remembered. And so like I have a thing about quotes, you know, like I'm like, never quote me, because it's possibly something that's just being recycled in humanity. And somebody else has probably said it, possibly in another language. And just kind of put it in your own words, put it in your own, whatever applies to you. And then whatever doesn't apply, just release it so that it can transform and be of more use to others.
I think originality is the way to go these days. You know, it's like we want to explore our originality, and that's where I'm up to in myself. But, you know, 5 years ago, I was still like rattling off 12-step stuff or Abraham or whatever, which is still amazing, great stuff. And I think it's got its place, but originality. You are here. I'm just saying this to the audience. You are here with a specific set of skills. And when you're finding your creation, that's true happiness, because it's just something fresh and new and exciting. So, you know, I'm really into that as well, that you are the creator and you are creating something right now. You're just brewing it up.
Right.
You are. I know you're just getting ready, guys. You're just getting ready to pop. You
The
know.
creation energy. So I think we'll
Right.
just finish up with another few minutes of this, and then
Sure.
yeah, and so I'll press this, and here we go.
Suzette, remember who you are. Suzette, remember why you're here. Suzette, connect to the deep arousal within you. Suzette. Won't you return to your wilderness? Won't you restore the emptiness? Return to your recreate the common ground by the conditions to which we agree upon. Question reality. Curiosity. Compel you to change.
Oh yeah, I'm feeling it. I'm there. Woo! I love it. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
me
It's so, I'm
too.
finding it really inspiring.
Agrees. I'm so excited. Us, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that drive, you know.
Yeah, I
What
love
I
the
love about
trance.
talking with you, Serenity Sam, is this like it's this there's so much more. Like I could spend hours. It's
Yeah.
bathing time, right? And so
Yeah.
I love, and I'm so alive
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so filled when I connect to music. And I'd love to know
Yeah.
like what the listeners, what are the songs that like really connect you? I'd love like the YouTube video links of listen to this one, the
Yeah.
inspiring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do send links in, guys. You know, show us your amazing music because, you know, the good thing about this, there might be stuff that we don't know about. I mean, you take us down a path that we didn't even know existed, you know, which is just so fun as well to
Right.
explore, just explore what's out there. And all these incredible artists is so inspiring, so
Yeah.
inspiring. But
Yeah.
I've loved it. Tell us a little more about that section before we move on anyhow.
We create the common ground by the conditions that we agree upon. And it's this idea that I believe in rewilding young people. I believe in the exploration of the heart, and I believe that we're all created with a purpose, and that the previous systems were really based around codependency,
Oh God,
which
yeah.
was I'm only going to love you if, and that what we were created for was this unconditional, right? There's boundaries, there's healthy boundaries that can be explored, there's yes no that can be explored, but
Yeah.
this example of the music pulling us into this place of whatever your darkness is, wherever you're hidden, that's where we want to go and explore and create some really healthy boundaries where nourishment can be taking place. And then from there, you can start to create your reality. And so often there's constructs, and that if you don't fit into those constructs, even musically, right? Like you have to play at exactly this beat and exactly this time signature and exactly these things in order for people to be on the journey with you. So how do we create safe containers where people can show up and as you were saying, like examine where are those walls, and then how do we create safety and start mapping out and going out further and further from those systems, so that we have there's a depth to it and a welcoming and a warmth to it.
Yeah. A healing grace,
Mm.
perhaps a nice words to put there. A healing grace. People that perhaps a little further ahead have seen it all and been through it, and able to hold the space in a way that's mature and knowledgeable, professional, etc., etc. And like through the healing, and I mean, I don't know if you know, I was in the 12 steps for a long time, part of the meetings, and that circle, my God, that circle, when you invite God in to these places, it just works its magic. It just works its magic. It does. People can talk about whatever they want to talk about. They are free. People need to be free to say what's on their hearts and minds. And I'm on a similar mission as well through my music. There's a healing nature, and there's an exploring who we are and what we are, and then coming to the point where we create our own reality, but from very solid ground of being in alignment.
Yeah.
So it's taken me years to get into alignment and know what alignment means, and to trust. This is another massive thing that I feel is part of the whole journey of this: trusting a higher power, your higher self, knowing the difference. What is that feeling? What is the feeling of feeling good? And can you trust feeling good? This is the big thing that I feel has been the big confusion for many people. What is good? What can I trust my feeling good? And how do I move forward into the good?
Yeah.
And how do I practice feeling and thinking good? How do I
Right.
practice that? So I'm all about rewiring the mind as well, for your own higher self benefit, not for the benefit of mankind, albeit there is a knock-on effect.
Right.
I'm just going a little bit into there for me, but yeah, I get it, and through the music, it is an experience. It's an absolute experience.
Mm. I'm feeling like really touched by what you're mentioning, and I too grew up in 12 step, actually, because my aunt who lived with us, I was raised because she always had 12 step meetings where out at the campground that I was raised in. And then 18 I started, 17, 18 I started Alateen, and then the 12
Oh, wow.
steps. And then
Oh, wow.
and I recognized that that was a really beautiful container to begin that process of healing. Again, your point of all are welcome here, and your story is welcome here. And what I appreciate about that being a foundational and grounding level is there is nothing that you could say that somebody in one of those rooms has not experienced, has not thought, has not had within them.
Yeah.
No amount of abuse, no amount of neglect, no amount of codependency, no amount of loss.
You're
Somebody
just there
within
to be
them.
loved. You're just there to be
Right.
loved by the
That's
group
right.
and by the higher power.
That's right.
And I
And
started in Al-Anon, which is a funny thing.
right,
Yeah.
right. And
That's my first foundation. Al-Anon was my foundation
yeah,
of everything that I started in me
yeah.
21 years ago. I'm so pleased that you've said that as well. It's just, it all makes sense now, even
Right.
more what you've said. Yeah.
Right. And that those are foundational pieces of equipment.
Mm.
And then from there, you go and explore the rest of your world, because I think you come from a place of a lot more. If you've done the work, if
Yeah.
you've fully shown up in all of your shadows and owned every part of all of the
And found
then
love as well, and
yeah,
peace and happiness through all of that. You are a master of
right,
yourself. And it's
yeah,
all about taking personal responsibility. These programs are all about taking personal responsibility and fully trusting a higher power in your life.
right,
That infinite intelligence is a source that we can draw upon. And that when you start understanding that unconditional love, then you can extend it to other people. But until you experience it yourself, it's a bit like being a mother. Until you've had a child yourself, it's hard to relate to other people that have children. And a bit the same with this. When you have been at your worst and you have still been loved by
mhm,
a group or infinite intelligence, then you know what grace is. Then you know what unconditional and grace really means. And when you yourself can love, let's say, the alcoholic that you had a horrible resentment against because all that pain, and you found love and you found compassion, then you know what grace being extended to others is all about as well. And
right,
so it's just so powerful. These, and these spirits, this Holy Spirit, whatever you want to say, is the spirit, the divine, the source, higher power. When that touches you, you never go backwards from it. You know it. You feel it in every
right.
fiber, and you are able to express it to others and encourage them to go down some of these routes. Thank God for it. Thank God that these things existed. And that's why I feel like you feel, I imagine as well. You can't keep quiet when you've got this kind of knowledge going on in yourself. You can't keep it to yourself. You want to do your bit. You got to say your bit, don't you, really? You got to say your bit.
I do. That's right. I go like from full volume, and then I'm like, okay, maybe I could do some like nonverbal communication for a while. But they have
Yeah.
platforms like this and like Spirituality Gone Wild,
Yeah.
where it's really offering the space of no matter where you are in the mess, you've got companions on the journey.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And there is places to go. That's why it's so good to have all sorts of people doing all sorts of things for all sorts of people. Like I'm
Yeah.
the rock and roll wild woman sort of thing. Like I'm sort of a rock and roll nun sort of person, and others will resonate to, whatever you class yourself as and everything. And it's just a wonderful thing. And I'm so pleased for you. This has been such an inspiring time. And this has gone beyond what I even knew was going to happen. I'm so happy to meet you, Radiance. And I'm just completely, for everything that you're saying and doing.
Thank you. And I to you. And I just wanted to send this out to like all of the people who are listening and will be listening in the future, that you're seen, you're heard, you're loved, you're nourished, and welcome home. Welcome to the family and nourishment. So yeah, tiny little steps. We're all going to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One day at a time. Absolutely, sister. Thank you so much for being here today. And I will keep the group updated for when Radiance is sharing things and wisdom back in group as well. So thank you so much. And we
Thank
will
you,
see
beautiful.
you soon, Hope.
Yes. Bye, beauties.
Thank you so much for watching and being with us today. And next week, I'm going to be having on expert in food and health and living a long life, Scott Stanfield, another member of Spirituality Gone Wild. So until then, I'll see you soon and have a beautiful, loving, blessed day.